Okay, can we talk about Kageura-san for a bit? Maybe we just need a Kageura break here. I love that this line here, you can see the line where he grinds, where the bevel is, but you can't feel it with your finger. And I asked him about that. The first time I met him, I said, why can I see that line, but I can't feel it? And his answer was the best. He said, because I'm very good at grinding knives. And I can't argue with that. And that was about the time the earthquake hit. Now that we've come back from that break, let's see what's in the box. So we're in his house, and it's a huge log structure. And an earthquake hit. I'm from Alberta, man. From Calgary. There's no earthquakes here. So I didn't really know what was happening, and everybody ran outside to get out of the house because they thought it was going to fall. So I went outside too. I still didn't really know what was going on, but everybody ran outside, so I went. And they're like, why were you staying in there, Kevin? That was an earthquake. And I was, oh, I didn't even know. And then we went back inside and we decided everything was safe. And it was about 10 minutes later, I don't know construction, but the big beam, it was like a solid log beam holding up right at the apex of the roof, cracked after the earthquake. And it sounded like a cannon went off in the little house. And that's when I hit the ground and I was so scared. And everybody laughed and laughed and laughed because I wasn't scared of the earthquake. I was just scared of the building settling. Anyway, Kageura-san is retired now. We're lucky enough that retirement for him means he sometimes makes knives. I've got a couple of his hunting knives. I've got a number of his kitchen knives. I've got 2 of his axes. I think this might be the best hatchet ever made by a human. It's a great size. You can see here, it's really huge. Like it's a fat, beefy little number. The end is tempered, so I can use it as a hammer, and it's just rad looking. And here's a bigger axe of his. So I don't think I haven't seen him make axes for years. So I kind of bought these last 2. But you can see the Damascus pattern in there. I love his work. And you want to feel like you're cutting wood with a shotgun? This is the axe for you, man. It sinks into a log and things explode off of it because it's so sharp, it digs in fast. Best hatchet in the world, possibly. Yeah, I don't think he's making axes at all anymore. But he's got at least 2 here. We've got another hunting knife. This is awesome. His wife showed me this on the back. So this is the loop that goes on your belt. Here we go, on the back. And then this here is a naked lady. And Kageura's wife, she's about, I don't know, 75 or 80, and she just goes, that's me. So cute. Okay, apparently this one's gonna be for sale in the garage sale, but it might not. Because this is what I really love. I love his sheath. This part here hooks around the button here, so it's actually locked in place. You can't get that out. Like, you would have to be a Sasquatch to pull this out. You just like rip it apart. Look at these blades. I love his Damascus. I love that the bolster's Damascus, and I love the tooling he's done along the top here. His hunting knives are awesome. And this is a persimmon wood, or khaki wood, as they call it in Japan. And this is a weird thing that we got. It is a 250 millimeter Usuba Nakiri crossed with a Takobiki or Yanagiba. Don't know what to describe this knife as, except I really, really want it. And if you notice too, here's something interesting. Kageura-san doesn't sign his blades. And I asked him about that, and he says, no, he says, they're beautiful. He said, if I engrave a knife or a name in there, he says, I'm marring the beauty of the blade. No, hey, I'm into it. So he is apparently retired and spending all of his time fishing. He goes fishing for 2 things. Fishing for some fish that he eats, and some fish that he takes back and puts in his little pond. So he stocked his pond from the local river. And I love that. There's a box from Fujiwara-san. This is what the Fujiwara Denka knives come in. Let's see what's in it though, because with my knives, it could be anything. Oh, it's a couple of Fujiwara Denkas. I have a real weakness for Fujiwara's knives. I like Fujiwara as a human. I like going fishing with him. I taught him how to fly fish real quick in southern Alberta here because he wanted to learn how to fly fish. I caught 1 fish that day, he caught 5. And it seems that anything he turns his hand at, he's great at. So he's a great fly fisherman on day 1. And he's great at karaoke too, but I don't know any of the songs he sings. This is a petty with a red pacawood handle, and I've got him to engrave most of my knives because it's unusual for blacksmiths to do their own engraving. it's usually 2 different skill sets. Moritaka-san, he engraves sometimes, Fujiwara-san will, and Masashi, but not everybody engraves. So it's really a treat to have your knife personalized by the blacksmith himself. So this is a Chromax steel, stainless, Damascus Kurochi Tsuchimi. So it means it's black, it's got the hammer marks, and it's Damascus steel. And he made another one that was polished here, and Corey at Acme Meats in Edmonton has got that one. And we begged him to make more of these, and he said, yes, sure. That was 10 years ago, and I haven't seen one yet. We might just get a whole box of them one day, 2 years down the line out of the blue. Interesting thing about this knife is I've treated it badly. Like if you have a Fujiwara Denki, you know that you can, the way they're ground and the way they're made, they're super, super sharp, but they can chip kind of easily. This knife, I've done very bad things to it, and it stood up. But I think that's the Chromax steel too. Like I think that's a really rugged steel. Anyway, there we go. This is that Chromax Damascus knife. This is like the weirdest unboxing video. So it's just every time I'm like, oh look, more knives, wonder what it is. I know what that one is, that's weird. And, oh, that is a really old Yuki Santoku from the days when we were still figuring out what Masakagi knives were all about. So this one's been sharpened a lot because we chipped it and beat it up, and we wanted to sharpen it and use it. So this is a really early prototype of the Masakagi Yuki knives that we've abused over the years. This here, my friend Ben in London bought me this. I was working in London as a chef at a restaurant called St. John, and Ben was working with me, and he took a trip to Japan, and he knew I like Japanese knives. So he got me this. I said, who made it? He goes, I don't know. So what kind of steel is it? I don't know. Like, what's it for? He goes, small things. So there you go. I have got this knife. I should actually get Nauta to read it, see what it says. I know nothing about it except it was given to me by a friend, Ben in London. Here we go. It's a knife from Konosuke. So you know the knife I showed you earlier that said Knifewear on it with the handle that was painted by the motorcycle painter? This is the same knife, but with a mirror polish. I love mirror polish knives, but not everybody does. And case in point, we owned these knives for a long time before they were finally sold. Super light, super thin. Love that knife. All right, let's see what else we have. Here is a knife. It is it's another Masakagi Yanagiba from Sasaoka-san. So there we go. I've got 2, and I didn't know I had 2. This is, Tojiro Atelier, sometimes called Sugimori, this knife. So this is a knife made, I haven't used this one yet either, but this is a knife made by Sayaka-san and Tomo-san at Tojiro Atelier. Tojiro's big factory. They do stamped and what we call factory-made knives, but there's still all the handworking, all the hands-onness of a Japanese factory. They decided to kind of go back to their roots. They hired Tomo-san. He's a friend of Masashi and Mizaki, so kind of that age of blacksmith that are kind of in their, I guess into their mid-40s now, maybe late 40s, that all spent time learning at Yoshikani and then all went off on their own. Now Tojiro Atelier, they call it, and they've just basically given Tomo, said, here, you're a blacksmith that knows what you're doing. It's time for you to be like the head guy. So come over here and let's build you the dream forge. So he got to build this thing. Sayaka-san works with Tomo. She was the first employee at Atelier after Tomo. She is the first Japanese blacksmith female that we know. So she saw a video about blacksmiths on TV, saw like a program about blacksmiths and said, I want to do that. And they got a job at Tojiro. And of course, being Japanese and really strict about things, they went, oh, you're a girl. You can work in the factory that puts the knives in the box. She's like, did that for a bit. And she's like, I don't like this job. I want to build knives. They're like, you mean make handles? So then they taught her how to make handles. And she's like, this is great. I want to make knives. And they went, oh, sharpening. So then they taught her how to sharpen. She's like, no, I want to make knives. So eventually the shacho, the boss, the president, said, Tomo-san, you got to work with Sayaka and teach her how to forge. And he's like, nah, she's a girl. And the shacho, little forward thinking, he's like, no, doesn't matter. Teach her. She's there for a year. If after a year you don't think she can cut it, we'll find a different place for her. And after 4 months, Tomo said, okay, she's staying. She's great. When I was there last talking with Tomo, he has 2 more ladies working in the shop right now, and he's got 2 more he wants to hire. So he's eventually gonna have 5 ladies and 2 men working in the blacksmith shop, which is super exciting because that is not a career traditionally for women in Japan. I've heard rumor there's another female blacksmith out and about, possibly in Sakai, so I'm gonna have to find out where she's at. Let's unpack a bunch more stuff from this box, see what else I have. This is fun for me because I kind of often forget all of the knives that I have. So it's fun to kind of go through them and say, oh, right, got kind of a weird big collection of knives. The first Hadayuki boxes they sent us, and inside are not those things. All right, so in here I got 2 knives. One is a knife. It's a petty. It's a 150? Yeah, I think it's 150 millimeter petty from Murata, or Buho. And Murata-san works in Tosa, and the first truly hand hammer knife I bought in London was a 180 Gyuto from Mortaka, and then I bought this petty after. And he is either done making knives or really close to being done making knives. So that'll be the end of that. This here, if you look here, look into this guy here. That is a little character from Kyushu Island called Kumamon, which means basically bear man. This is one of the 2 little kids' knives. They rounded off the front and the back and made little tiny kids' knives for my kids when they were little. So there we go. Da-da-da! And in here we have, it's a Hadayuki Kokuto. It's Ginsan stainless steel, great gift knife. We sell a lot of them as gift knife. I think Nathan gives this one to everybody that ever is getting married because looks great, cuts great, and nobody has to worry about rusting issues. So it's one of those excellent knives to give as a gift. What else do we have? This is a Masashi box. Nothing from Masashi. These are 2 knives from Kurosaki, where he was trying out different handles. So he's got a white Korean handle and a black micarta handle. And if you look at the shape of these knives and the way of the handles, you can really see the influence that he got from Saji-san. Because Kurosaki learned, well, he went and worked with Saji-san for a long time, mostly to learn how to make handles was the big thing. And you can see the influence of Saji in these Kurosaki knives. Again, love these 2 because they're stainless steel. They look cool, they got great handles, and I can give them to my friends when they come over to help me cook. So this is Hatsukokuro box. This knife was just for me. But there's a knife and there's an engraver in Sakai called Michiko, and she engraved the little sakura blossoms right there. And I think that's really cool because it's an inexpensive way to engrave a knife. And with a gyuto like this, if you engrave the whole blade, you can bend the whole blade in a bunch of wacky ways because they're too thin. So that's why you see debas are generally the knife that are engraved, because they're a lot fatter and they're more robust. But this is like a really cute way, and you get a personalized knife, and you can really, it's not that much money. We should do more of that because it's beautiful. That's a great knife. I love that knife. Kobayashi and I hid out in a gyoza bar in Seki one year, hiding from a typhoon that never came. It took a U-turn right at the last minute, hit Tokyo really hard, and didn't hit us. And oddly enough, I fixed all of the damage in Seki from the typhoon. I fixed it all myself. As we left the gyoza bar, and the storm was over, which wasn't much of a storm, because like I said, it missed us. But it was supposed to hit us. Like that was the thing. Like the whole city would shut down. Like basically, we found the one place that was still open. And I came out of that bar and I fixed all the damage in Seki myself. One bike had blown over, so I picked the bicycle up. I was the hero of Seki. Yeah, so that's the knife from Kobayashi. It's SG2, it's Damascus, it's stainless, it's super thin. I'm bad that way, that I tend to like to put fancy handles on stuff. What else do we have? It says garage sale. It's got price tags on it still. All right, I have taken this one home from the garage sale. It's Aogami Super, as you can see here, and it was $387. I clearly loved it that day, took it home, put it in a box, put it in my house, never to think of it again. This is a problem I have. This is your warning right now. I got into Japanese knives in 1999. So that was 25 years ago. And now I've got this compulsive nature where, well, one, we own a bunch of knife stores now, and two, I tend to buy knives and just stick them in a box somewhere in my house and forget that I even own them. Wake up, there's just knives everywhere. It used to be empty beer cans, now it's just brand new knife boxes. So this is a Moritaka, Ogami Super Moritaka box. Let's see what's in it. The stupidest knife possible. Of course it's in a Moritaka box. This is the least Moritaka knife ever made. The Moritakas have been making knives since 1293. This knife was nothing like, they wouldn't even recognize this as a knife. This is called the American Utility Knife from Tojiro. And when they discontinued this, I bought all of them because I really like it. If you've ever made a whole bunch of sandwiches, you would know the power of this knife. Because I can spread mayonnaise with this knife and I can cut the sandwich in half. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure. It's such a dumb knife and we shouldn't love it. But the problem is we love it. What's this? Oh, here's knives from a Canadian blacksmith called Cosmo on Salt Spring Island. He makes really beautiful knives. He makes beautiful Damascus steel knives. I have them because I like knives. The end. It's another Moritaka box. Let's see what's in this Moritaka box. That's Moritaka knife. And it's so tarnished. Oh my God. This is a knife I made with Ikeda-san and Anri-san. So I made this. It took me most of the day. And it's terrible. It's really fat and heavy and clunky. I like the way it's ground though. I feel I did not a bad job of grinding it, although I've given it too much of a smile. It should have been flatter. If you look at old knives from Takafu, they were all built like this, totally square. When Mark and I were working together at Knifewear and Shibata-san and I were working on Muskogee knives together, we're trying to figure out how to make them look cool and give them a feel for Westerners. One of the things that Mark and I really wanted was this recurve here, because you can stick your finger in there and you can hold the knife the way a chef would hold the knife and you've got room. And if you look at all of the Takafu knives that come out, they've all got that now. So I feel really excited that it's not just a Muskogee feature anymore, which is kind of a bummer because it's something we made and we wanted, but it's fun to know that we've had some input in how knives are made in Japan. Although nobody would know that except Mark and I, Shiba. And this is a Santoku that I got from Moritaka years ago. So this is the first knife I bought from Moritaka-san. So in about 2008, I guess I bought this as a sample, just to see what their knives were all about. And then we started buying a ton of knives from them. And we've been carrying their knives forever. They're such a great group of blacksmiths, such a great family. And they've been out to Canada a couple times. They were even at the opening to the Vancouver store. They were at the opening party. It was super fun.
Toronto too.
And they were at the opening party for Toronto too. Wow. All right. Let us know if you like this kind of comment. I think it'd be fun. I think it's fun to show off Knifewear staff's kitchen knife collection. So let us know if you like this in the comments. And if you do, we'll keep making more stuff like this.